And we're back with former federal prosecutors Tanya Miller, Andrew Weissmann, and Harry Litman. And the defense speaks. Criminal defendant Rudolph Giuliani just said this.
This is a ridiculous application of the racketeering statute. There's probably no one that knows it better than I do, probably some that know it as well. I was the first one to use it in white-collar cases. But in major cases like the Boesky case and the Milken case, this is not meant for election disputes. I mean, this is ridiculous what she's doing.
Andrew Weissmann, your response to defendant Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani, of all of the defendants, of the major names that we know about, I think is in the most legal peril. Not only is he on tape and there are credible witnesses and transcripts of his false statements to the Georgia legislature, not only is there his bad faith litigation in Pennsylvania, as found by the disciplinary committee in D.C., where they found that he did not have a basis to challenge the vote there. But you also have his conduct charged here with respect to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. And so there's not only the sort of high end, what he was doing to the democracy writ large, but the real consequences and, in my view, racist conduct on his part with respect to those two women. And to make it an even stronger case, in the civil lawsuit in D.C. before the former Chief Judge Beryl Howell, Rudy Giuliani has essentially admitted and is not challenging the allegations there. So there will be an effort to use that in this case. So he is facing incredibly strong charges, and he cannot be federally pardoned for these state charges. And I think, as you mentioned, he is relatively old, and he is going to be without a lot of money because he is being sued by Dominion. He's being sued by Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, as well he should be. And he's already been sanctioned by Beryl Howell in that case. So he is really facing significant legal peril.
Tanya Miller, Rudy Giuliani in that same interview also said this: they're not even crimes. This is the First Amendment. This is free speech. It's my acting as a lawyer. I have a right to argue for my client. I even have a right to exaggerate for my client. I have a basis for everything that I said. What is your reaction to that?
I think that those are the expected defenses to hear. I think we've heard them hint at these defenses all along. Look, I think I agree. I think that Rudy Giuliani's conduct is probably the most egregious. It's probably going to be the easiest to prove. And this notion that somehow RICO is only meant for the mafia, I don't think he's been watching how the RICO statute has been used in modern times. I certainly don't think he's paid attention to how it's been used in Fulton County. And I don't think he realizes that this particular DA is very skilled in using RICO for things exactly like this. Pioneering types of situations where there are these things that when you look at them individually, they don't seem that terrible, but when you take them on a whole, they seem egregious. For example, the APS cheating scandal. Many of folks down here thought that really wasn't the kind of case that RICO should be used for. Well, this district attorney used it. A Fulton County jury agreed, and many of those educators were, unfortunately for a lot of folks, convicted. So I think he's in for a rude awakening in Fulton County.
Georgia State Representative Tanya Miller, Andrew Weissmann, Harry Litman, thank you all for joining our discussion tonight. Really appreciate it.